So this idea of who are you, uh, I think I've heard people say to you, who do you think you are? LaOta pops her collar. Well, let me tell you, she got that on the list. Emissary of all that is. And true story.
So if you're in the process of rediscovering your identity, here are 5 questions that you should ask yourself for clarity. What am I interested in that I haven't tried before? What am I passionate about? What are my strengths? What comes naturally to me? What do I like to create that makes me feel happy and that makes me feel purposeful every time I do it?
The moment people start know who you are, they create your identity. Oh, Robert Greene is this person who writes these dark Machiavellian manipulative books. Then I'm trapped. I'm trapped by their perception of me, and I always have to be like a little dog performing for them, right? And I don't want to fall into that trap. You have to recreate yourself. You have to use your personality and who you are as clay that you are molding. You're like an artist. And so you change yourself. For each person, it's different.
Welcome to Call for the Truth. I am LaOta of the Sun, and this is Tarvars of the Sun, and we are here today to bring you some levels of truth, and we'll ask for Tarvars to open by calling for the truth.
Yes, we invite you all who are tuning in to join us in the call for the truth. Shall we call for the frequency of truth to come forward? Shall we call to see the truth in all that we see? Shall we call to hear the truth in all that we hear? Shall we call to speak the truth, calling forth the courage to speak the truth in all things? Shall we call for nothing less than truth to come forward into our experience? And so we are here.
Yes, we are. And the topic we'd like to talk about today is, are you in service to your own goals? Are you in service to yourself? Are you in service to who you are? Are you willing to correct your behavior so that you can be in best and greatest and highest service to who you are? Is that a possibility? Is that something that you have been taught about, that your parents show you that aspect, that they were in service to their own goals? What are your goals? What is your purpose? What is your understanding of why you're here? Are you in service to that, or have you given over your power to another to be in service to their goal? Are you putting someone through medical school, or putting someone through law school, or delaying your own experience for another? And is that, in fact, your goal? Is that what you want to do? Or are you delaying your own experience to further another's experience, removing the burden of them and the challenge for them to grow more? What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think this is a major introspective question. And in my personal journey, I have asked myself this many times over, recalibrating, reorienting, reassessing where I am, why am I doing what I'm doing? And I think it's appropriate to be of service,
Yes.
to assist other people in their goals. Some of the examples you gave were maybe you're helping someone make it through school, right? Because maybe it's like a husband-wife dynamic, and one's working and one's in school, right?
Right.
However, I do find that when you neglect your personal goals, it's like you become malnourished. You know, you're missing the satisfaction in life, you know, from what's within you that needs to come out and be acted and engaged on. And again, I've seen that in my personal life, and I've seen when you do that, I mean, like life just opens up. But when you don't, it can be problematic. There's so many other ideas that are coming to mind, but I'm going to stop there. You got some thoughts?
Yes, I want to talk about the idea that the vast majority of people are here as support for our reality. The vast majority of humans are here not so much that they will individually and specifically do a thing that will change everything, but because they are doing the highest level of experience that they can have, of being in support of their children, being in support of their parents, being in support of their own good health, exploring their own greatness, that then supports all of the rest of this reality, the reality that we are experiencing, that it is necessary that not everyone is a ruler, not everyone is a leader. A vast majority of people are not that. And so I think it's important that we identify, who are we? Most of us know whether we feel that we were destined for something, or if our destiny is to support the ones that we're here with. And I think this is worth exploring and worth going into detail about.
Well, certainly. So this idea of who are you, I think I've heard people say to you, who do you think you are? LaOta pops her collar. Well, let me tell you, she got that on the list. Emissary of all that is. And true story. But again, I think it's important to know who you are, what you are, and even if your reality is not a full match yet, but just understanding what you're working towards,
Yeah.
to have an idealized version of who you are that you're working, again, the goal setting.
Yes.
You know, what is it that you're doing every day to feed this part of yourself, to move closer towards that, which I think there's a goalpost because evolution is ongoing, right? So these are, again, some of my thoughts. This importance of who are you, recognizing what that is, and then framing, and this is something I've personally done, frame my daily goals and actions towards, okay, let me feed this version of myself, so that it can grow, because everything eats.
Yes. And so I love what you just said about, people saying, who do you think you are? Because there's so many ways to say that. There's
Yeah.
like, little boy, who do you think you are? Who do you want to grow up and be? Or young woman, who do you think you are? What do you think you're doing here? There's that. And then there's like, who do you think you are? There's all of these different understandings that I encourage everyone to explore it. Like, ask yourself that question. Who is it that you think you are, and are you moving towards that actuality of who you think you are? Are you in service to your own understanding? Do you have a goal as to who you are? Did you have a dream when you were 5 years old or 10 years old of something you would do? I remember having those kinds of thoughts of things I wanted to do with my life, which have happened many decades later, but they happened. And I remember thinking that when I was 10, what are these goals? What arises in you from your own intelligence that says, I feel like I'm supposed to contribute musically. I feel like I'm a poet. I feel like I'm an artist. I feel like I'm here to help mankind. I'm here to help women, or I'm here to work with the children. What is it? Are you in service to the thing that you think you are? Or have you subjugated the thing that you think you are and compartmentalized it and put it into a package in the back of the cabinet inside of a brown paper bag, thinking it'll be fine? Vibration. We are a universal remedy of support, an ally infused with positive frequencies and biophotonic light particles, intended to return one to the greater whole of one's organic nature. Within our layered structure exists an opportunity for metamorphosis, prompting divine healing energies of light to awaken your original composition, that which has been irritated by inorganic substances through mental, emotional, and physical material. We are navigators, those who operate by way of your conscious thought and directive, exponentially moving to the physical areas of stuck emotion within the body that are in need of restoration. When engaged with us, we identify and mirror
the called upon frequencies of lower vibratory notion for it to see itself in transmutation, while awakening that which is dormant to shift into the rectification of optimum balance and functionality.
So that right there, that's touching on what I was just thinking of, how there are many people on the planet who have been, we've had these ideas and then they've been shut down and we've kind of tucked them off. And our identity has been bestowed on us. You know, people have placed levels of, well, I'll say this. You have mentioned this term or this phrase, are you the author of you, or are you allowing someone else to author your life, you know, to dictate and write your narrative? And I think it's so imperative that we assess this idea of what has been overlaid on us. So what are your thoughts on this for people who find themselves maybe not knowing really who they are, or what they have identified with has been something that has been influenced by someone else that has nothing to do with the purity of what's in them that needs to be expressed?
Yeah, I think looking at what our choices are, like what do we choose to read? What are we interested in? What is it that has nothing to do with how we're being educated, or doesn't have to do with what our parents do for a living, or what they want us to do, or what language they speak, or what country they're from, but more this idea of what comes up. Are you interested in fashion? Are you interested in creative things? Do you want to work with your hands? Do you see that you will be an innovator and a person who invents things? Are you tinkering in your mind about how you can make something better? Examine these aspects that arise within you. You are not new. You have developed many things over many lifetimes. You have been here before. So there are other aspects that will arise automatically within you that may not be supported. But in point of fact, everyone chooses their parents and their circumstance. So when you find yourself confronted with a challenge, remember everything that comes to you is a gift from your greater experience, your greater self, to move you into greater satisfaction. So the challenge might be to move past barriers, cultural barriers, or to move past racial barriers, or to move past religious barriers, so that you can affect the time that we are living in now. This time of deconstruction cannot be ignored. Like, here you are, the biggest show on earth is Earth right now. The biggest thing happening, everybody wanted a ticket. Everybody was trying to get here, but here you are. Life is great. But are you experiencing it that way? Are you still trying to navigate your way into the part that is not painful because you're trying to do two different things? Remember, the pain is because you're moving in the wrong direction. You get pain because, oops, I'm moving in the wrong way.
Yeah, it's like an alert from your body.
Yes.
Don't do that. Stop that.
It's like you talk about all the time, the pain points.
Yes.
When you're talking to your clients and you're trying to find the pain point, well, most of us, you don't have to go very far to find it.
No, it's usually on the surface. Like, oh, well, there it goes, right there. And there and there and there.
And it's my relatives, or it's my parents, or it's
Yeah.
my education, or my lack of it, or lack of money. All of those things are to make you see things a different way. Flip the script.
See, but I like that right there, where you're in this makes the difference of the third dimensional experience of suffering versus this fourth, fifth, and higher experience of how is this working for me? Why is this here? How does it serve me? You know, same with the emotion or the pain point. You know, this is something that is, it's a signal, it's an indicator for me to, maybe I do need to pivot.
Right.
And stop trying to do the thing that everybody told me to do, because clearly it hurts to do it. I want to share a thought. There was, I was helping a buddy of mine with some graphic design work, and he has this woman who's a mentor slash friend, who $1 million company, and she's helping guide the design process. And so she loves the work that I'm doing for him. She's like, so and so, I want him on my team. He takes instructions so well, and his execution, oh my gosh. And so a job opportunity was offered to me. And I could make a lot of money, but I had to keep it real. Who am I? What is my goal? Does this align with my goals? Yes, I can do it, and I can do it highly effective, and I would make some money, but do I want to do that? No. So I had to email this lady. Thank you. However, I'm going to have to stand down because this just isn't alignment, So I think it requires us to, one, again, like you said earlier, have the clarity of who are we? What are we passionate about? What are our interests? And then start pursuing that, and then cut the dead weight, cut off the things that aren't really supporting the goal or whatever you're aspiring to be, because again, these are all distractions that keeps pulling you away, and you may be fulfilling someone else's dream, and again, lacking that satisfaction from the investment of your time and energy.
Yes, very much. I think so many things were served in that story. What is the end goal of us accomplishing, serving our own goals? So if your interest is in art, and yours is, and your job touches on it, but that's not all that it is, because that's not all that you are, and then you're acknowledged and elevated by someone being inspired by what you have done, you won. You don't have to take the job.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
That's a good point, because I was feeling myself. She's like, we got people on staff, and they are not operating nowhere near you. And I'm like, this lady don't even know I haven't even went to school for this. It felt good. That was a win.
So you have already won. You don't have to sell your soul.
Yeah.
You don't have to say, okay, you have me, and now you give me money, now you own me.
Yeah, I can't do that.
So, but you've already won. And this is really where when we serve our own goal, if our goal is to learn to be spiritual, or learn to be counselors, or learn to be healers, or learn to be artists, if we practice our art to the level where it's undeniable and observable, and people are inspired enough to say something, you won. You won the life. You won the life you wanted. You won the life that you earned. You won the life that you were inspired to go to. But that doesn't happen when one of your previous jobs was selling cruises. That doesn't happen selling cruise tickets.
No, it doesn't. Why is that so funny?
Because we're talking about, our topic is serving our own goals. Being willing to do the things that during the time you were doing that, you still had your interest in the many things you have interest in, many of which you have mastered, many of which are inspirational. And really, that serves you better to be free in that expression.
Well, since you brought it up, I will share that in that time, because now it's all coming to the surface, in that time, I had set the goal to pursue energy work, and art. I often share with people, I checked with my guidance, we made a little scale. Energy and clearing was a 10 on a scale from 0 to 10. Art was a 6. So I knew it would be somewhere in there. And once I went in, even though I was selling the cruises, I was still clearing properties. I was doing my thing, building my muscle. And I can see, looking back in hindsight, that counted, that added to the pot. It contributed to opportunities opening up because, I invested the time and the energy.
And this idea
clear.
of serving as a salesperson for cruise tickets still served your goal. It still served your goal. You didn't make it a lifetime commitment.
No, but the skill set did carry over to working with clients.
Yes, and not only did it make you able to do customer service at a high level, but it also helped you with your investment because it required finances, it required time and energy, and it was something that the job didn't take that away from you. So you were able to move through the service to your own. You were willing to do the things that would serve your goal. And the goal ultimately was to be of service.
Indeed.
Yes, and so not everyone has the same goal, and I'm not saying that goal is the only goal people should have, but it's very interesting when we can look at a lifetime circumstances and we can see as a person grows and evolves and matures and they hold their goal, they're in service to their goal, then they eventually get to move deeper into their goal, and there's unexpected benefits and gifts. It was an unexpected benefit and gift that you were in service to a friend who needed assistance on a project, and here's this great acknowledgement and benefit, like, oh, we see you so much, we want to give you money, and we want to have you come and be and, you know, do all the things you know how to do so well because we are so impressed. That's a win.
Indeed.
You don't have to you don't have to fall into the vat of being in service to that person's idea.
Yeah.
You were still in service to self and in service to others you chose to be in service
Most
to.
certainly.
So another person's desire did not devour you and cannibalize you. You remained free because the option of freedom was greater than the option or the attraction of their adoration and finances.
That can only happen when you know who you are and you have clear goals that you're working towards.
So who do you think you are?
Shall I go down the list?
So it's a question for all of us to ask ourselves. Okay, now you're here in this experience, in this reality. Who are you? Or who would you like to be? You have the option of molding yourself from whatever you chose to come in as to whatever you would like to be. So this is really the message of today's talk. The solution is get quiet. Spend some time on you without all of the accoutrement of everyone else. And recognize that it is a win when someone acknowledges your exaltation. You've already won. And it is better to allow someone else outside of you to identify instead of you to self-identify. Because you could be in error. You can identify too quick.
I feel like that's a whole another topic. May we do Call for the Truth card pool?
So today we have the Call for the Truth cards, and I'm going to hand them to Tarvars so he can shuffle them and ask his question for today's podcast.
Asking to see the truth as it relates to today's topic of setting goals and knowing who you are.
Dun, 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 dun.
Why'd you stop?
Oh, something just tried to jump out.
The theme is truth, throat chakra. Declare war on the enemy within you. Conquer your own mind. Let your battle cry be truth and victory. So this is bringing me back to mind of what we were sharing on how there's so many things outside of us that tries to inform us and dictate who we are. And oftentimes they are not the truth. I think that could equate with a lie. That's what that is, right? So I think it's important within the practice that you recommend, getting quiet, sitting, calling forth the truth of what you're here to bring forth, you know, why, who are you, you know, and the throat chakra, the blue, when I think about this, I think about expression, you know, what's being expressed through time and space. You have any thoughts on this, LaOta?
I do actually. What came to mind was this thought about those of us who have parents, who's everybody, and have children, and how often who we are has not occurred to them yet, or they have not investigated because they have already in their mind who we were when we were 3 or 4, and that's who we always will be, and how we need to make sure that we unjangle ourselves from any attachments to what other people think, it is not as important that they know who you are as it is that you know who you are.
Yes.
So you can inform your entire morphic field with the energy of your intention to be the greatest aspect of you that you may be. Whatever that means. I love what Archangel Michael has told us, all life is life. There's an equal opportunity for all life to be life. There is no life that is insignificant or unimportant. There is no position that you hold in humanity that is not a relevant position to have, because you can always grow into the most exalted aspect of that. So if you find yourself broken and disappointed, you can grow beyond that. If you find yourself marginalized and misunderstood, you can grow beyond that. First, by understanding yourself and stop marginalizing yourself and stop, so don't let what other people think be your nourishment. Let you nourish yourself with your own inspiration of what are you in service to? What goals are you in service to? If you don't have any goals, we would recommend that you get quiet and find something that is inspiring. Something, because life is good. You should get some of this.
That's right. Buffet. There's not a lot of people in there.
So we thank you, and we leave you with the greetings of Invocation Veritas, with honor, respect, and gratitude.